What's up, guys? Got a really good conversation today. Got Nick and Zach Gallagher on the pod, and we are going to be diving into like everything. We talked earlier about what we should talk about. We're definitely going to hit KWC. We're going to talk about our partnership, the Lotus team. We're going to talk about uh, what they've been up to content wise. I posted on my Instagram to ask me to have me ask them questions, and I got a lot of good questions. We'll talk about meat, of course. Um, and we'll probably also talk about Taki and Ryoga. I think that's a must to every conversation. Talk about the Japanese legends. So, welcome to the pod.
Yeah. Happy to be here, guys. Excited for this discussion.
Yeah, and I know I introed that, but I don't know if you guys are gonna have this for your pod too, but whatever. This is a collaboration. This is a partnership, right?
Yeah, it's all good.
All right.
Yeah.
I think we should start off with KWC. Is that cool?
Yeah,
So
definitely to do it.
I just got home last week. You guys are still Nick's in Japan, Zach's in Taiwan,
Hmm.
but I think we're still kind of feeling the after effects of what went down. Um, I don't know where to start first. Maybe just with Ryoga.
Yeah, I think we can
Yeah.
start with the results. I mean, what
Yeah.
went down,
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, Ryoga took first with 1,973 points. I mean, that is like that is insane.
Yeah.
And I actually and we can talk about that in a sec too. But a couple things, you know, for this year, I took a look at the past couple years in the finals, and the representation of Japanese players in the finals and the USA people in the finals has actually been semi-consistent in the past, like even every in-person KWC since 2016.
Like
Uh,
half and
I used to
half?
I used to think it was like, okay, USA is dominating really the most of the leaderboard, and now Japanese are like edging their way in. But actually isn't really like it hasn't been like that. So like every 2000 every in-person KWC, so in person, so not online, and I don't count 2022 as it, even though it was in person because it wasn't really like probably like a grand total of four foreigners went to that event.
Okay, yeah.
Um, but 2016, like in the finals, it was 12 Japanese people, 10 from the USA, and then the rest of the people were foreigners. So that's 22 between the US and Japan, rest are foreigners. 2017, this is the most amount USA's ever had, 13 USA, 16 Japanese. 2018, this is when you start to see the decline, 9 USA, 19 Japanese. 2019, 7 USA, 21 Japanese. 2023, that's the least ever last year, 6 USA, 26 Japanese. And then this year was 7 USA, 25 Japanese. And the difference between first place and third place this year was over 600 points, which is ridiculous.
How does that
Which
compare?
is
Was there ever like that drastic of a difference? Like, what about
in
Takuya winning the last
2022,
few years? Like, what was his difference?
I mean, the difference in 2022 was insane. Like, but yeah. So like 2022, Taki got 2,000 points, and then So got like 1,200 points. So that
Wow.
was
That's a domination, dude.
yeah, yeah. That was he could have probably stopped like 45 seconds earlier, or
Yeah,
probably like a
yeah.
minute earlier and still won, which is crazy. But yeah, it's absolutely domination. Other than that, no, there's definitely never been that. I don't think there's ever been that much of a discrepancy in points. But I mean, it really just goes to show like everybody this year. I mean, there's a lot of thousands, 1100s, but I mean, then you see Ryoga and Takuya, like Ryoga hits full marks, 1900 points. No
Yeah.
one even, uh, no one was going to be hitting that consistently. Even the people projected higher than him were. I mean, I can't say this for a fact, but I really doubt they had that
It was
kind of
just
projection.
Yasu. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, and I can't speak for Yasu, but I know I saw Ryoga hit his final run in person in front of my face like probably 10 times before the event. So
Yeah.
this will speak to his consistency. But yeah, I mean Roga won. I mean, what did you guys think going into it? Do you guys think he was gonna win?
Mm.
Ryoga,
I
or was it like a toss up? Yeah.
Well, after seeing Ryoga in person, I definitely think he had a great. I just felt like something was going to happen, something special was going to happen. It's hard to bet against a guy who can do his final run, 2K points in front of you most of the time, and in just the most random situations. Zach and I were out with dinner, out having dinner with Ryoga and his mom and a couple other of his friends. And then after sitting down for an hour and a half, we get out into the main part of the mall and he's like, guys, let's just do final runs right now. I'm like, okay, we'll just watch you. And then he doesn't, he gets all the way to his last trick and then runs out of time. And I'm just thinking, dang, he just sat down for an hour and a half, went out here with
yeah.
no warm up, probably still full and just did that and wants to go again. And it's pretty hot in here. And I was just thinking, man, this guy is different this year. So, yeah, I mean, obviously, I honestly thought Takuya was unbeatable. Obviously, if he would have got his full marks, he would have won. But I mean, that's because he had the second highest point total possible. I think Yasu just had the highest, but Yasu always goes for something crazy.
Yeah.
I just don't think he just hasn't put in as much practice as Takuya or Ryoga or these guys because these guys just take it a little more seriously. Um, but yeah, something happened this year. Something special happened. Takuya barely missed his last trick for the win. Barely, barely, barely missed it if you watch it in
Brutal.
slow. And it's his best trick, one of his best tricks in my opinion. I was seeing him. It's Goya's big tap times four, the level 11. I'd see Takuya hit that at practice sessions like a regular four tap for just breakfast. It was just so easy. Um, so I was really surprised he missed it at the end. And you could tell he was like really surprised he missed it too because he was trying to hype the crowd up with 2 seconds left. Like, hey guys, this is my last go. Let's get like
I feel like
like
there was like I think I'm not gonna put this on Jake, but maybe there was like a issue with the timing because he had like 7 seconds hyping himself up, and like he was like, okay, I have like two good attempts left. The first attempt he went, I think that was the one that he barely missed.
Yeah.
And then Jake starts counting
yeah.
down, and it kind of like hit him really quick. And he's like, oh shit. Like he wasn't sure if he was supposed to time it to have one more, like pulled up at the last second and then have that buzzer beater. But like I think he
Hmm.
kind of rushed it too much because it was just a bad timing situation, you know?
I'll have to look at that. I don't know. For me, it looked like
He just missed that easy one, and
he
then
just
he just was like, oh my God,
he,
yeah.
yeah, for me it looked like he missed it. But anyway, yeah, something I just knew that because Ryoga went before Takuya, you
Yeah.
know? So because Ryoga it was Ryoga, Takuya, Yasu, I think, for the last people. And when Ryoga hit that full mark, it's like, okay, now in Takuya's head, he's like, okay, now I have to full mark to win. I can't just not get full marks and win like
Right.
this year. There's some pressure. There's some pressure. No
But
matter
like
how many
last
times you
year,
hit
didn't
your
that happen
goal.
last year too? If he didn't, I guess he didn't fall mark, but if he, okay, yeah, I guess he didn't have that like direct pressure. Like I need to full
Yeah,
mark this to win
yeah,
versus like I can get by with
yeah,
missing my last trick.
yeah.
No,
I mean,
yeah.
yeah, he barely won last year with the last trick he clutched up in like the final seconds, the buzzer beater,
Yep.
the level 10 cloud bounce. But even still, he didn't have to full mark to win, and it's full marking on that stage is really hard. That's why you only see a couple people do it every year. So yeah, he had that pressure, and looks like Ryoga just was the best on that day.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
Was that the most exciting KWC that you guys seen?
yeah,
Um,
yeah. I mean, it was definitely up there. I don't know. I have a really big bias. I was really stoked when I won.
Yeah, that was pretty exciting for you. Yeah, I feel you.
I was like, I
Um,
mean, exciting is like, I mean, it's insane to see people get that high of point scores in person. Like, see Ryoga
Yeah.
hit 1,900 points on stage in person is like, dude, my God, like nobody's even close except for Takuya. And Takuya almost hit 2,000 points. He was like 1 inch away, probably less than that. I think the most exciting KFC for me was, I mean, it was probably when like Nick won. I was really hyped.
Yeah.
But yeah, yeah, no, but I mean, but this one it was kind of like I guess it's more exciting in the sense that in previous years there was you could kind of say it would be like a toss up or like for example 2019 that was the most random winner ever. Like when Rui won, that was so
Really one,
random.
yeah.
But
Yeah.
and even when Nick won, it like he won by 200 points. So and it's not like a 300, 400 point difference between first and second, or like a 600 point difference between first and first and third. It's a little more, but like this year, I don't know. I feel like for the past like even 3 months beforehand, I was like, all right, Ryoga is gonna win, and yeah, it happened. So, but I mean,
Yeah.
it doesn't take away from the excitement of like they actually are doing the tricks. It's just like a lot more evident now, like who's gonna like actually just destroy, because they're actually just so far ahead. And I
Yeah.
don't think there's been players like this far ahead relative to other players ever.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I don't think there's ever been like the skill difference between Ryoga, Taki, and like everybody else is huge. And I
Yeah.
think maybe people listening, like maybe they don't really understand because they never seen them play in person before. But if you see them play in person, it's like if you see them play for like literally 10 minutes, I mean, it's pretty evident. Yeah.
I mean, last year and 2 years ago, it was just Takuya way far ahead. He was the Tiger Woods. And like, I think we were kind of calling this just watching Ryoga play, not necessarily saying that he's the best, but and not saying that he's done harder tricks than Takuya, but I think just the ease of play for him was like, okay,
Mm,
this kid has a lot of potential to win. But
Mm.
I wonder, it would be cool to do like a breakdown of like when he caught up and how he caught up, you know? I mean, I
mm,
guess he always had that trajectory and then just brought it to the next level, maybe the last 2 years. Because
yeah.
last year, what did he get? Did he get, remember if he got full marks, if he missed some tricks, if did he get top
Last
20?
year, last year he didn't get full
He
marks. He got off
he
the actually have
qualified
to go.
second last year,
Yeah,
so
that's
he was
right.
actually still really good. Like he still
Yeah.
qualified like really high last year. It's funny because he was the second. He was the second highest person. Let me just bring it up.
No problem.
But he actually. So yeah, I mean, he in prelims he qualified second with 94 points. Takia finished first with 97. And then in the full marks he got um yeah, he finished in the top 10. I mean, no, he finished 11th.
Mm.
So he got 1,011 points last year. And Takia didn't hit full marks and got 1,500 points, 1,543.
So that wasn't
Um,
even the jump from last year to this year for Cup was crazy.
yeah,
Mm.
yeah. And I even think last year it was like I knew Ryoga was really good. And
Yeah.
like even playing with that was kind of when he was first on my radar as a person who was like actually super elite. Because I remember playing with him in person. I was like, oh, he can actually do every single trick. It's not just taps
Yeah.
and Ken flips. Like he actually is really good at stalls too. But he's actually a completely different player than he was even last year. I mean, I think that definitely the transition between okay, like Ryoga's like super super good, so like all right, Ryoga's like top two in the world is like definitely in the last like 10 months, something like that. But I'm just trying to imagine how many hours he put in the past year. I'd love to see. I wish there was a breakdown of that because he definitely transformed. He definitely transformed because I don't know that level of consistency obviously wasn't there last year with the difficulty of tricks, but this year I mean he's hitting it every single time when he's practicing. So it was really amazing.
Yeah.
Mm.
Um, and how do you guys' cup go?
Yeah, it was good. Um, we I definitely had the goal of getting full marks this year because I didn't get it last year. I missed the quintuple last year, and then this year I really wanted to redemption. I wasn't able to get that last trick, which is pretty sad in the moment because it wasn't a huge banger. It was just a level 9. It was Rod's level 9, and I missed the lunar. So that was a little unfortunate, but I've been practicing turntables for a really long time now, and I was able to open up my run with both the turntable tricks, the 10 turntable and the reverse 2, normal 2, the level 7, and I was so proud to get that first try. I think that really meant a lot to my run, and even though I didn't get full marks, I remember telling people leading up to Cup, I was just thinking, yeah, if I get those turntable tricks on stage, I'll be happy. I don't care what happens. I just want to get those. And so looking back, I achieved my goal. And yeah, I ended up with fourth. I remember talking to you guys. I was like, okay, I got fifth again, just because we thought a couple people placed higher, and then something's happened, and then they called Shinosuke for fifth, and I just thought, oh my God. It just got better because I was expecting fifth, and they gave me fourth. So
Yeah.
yeah, felt really, really good. I think that makes me, yeah, I think ever since, yeah, 2017, every time I've competed, I've finished in the top 5, and it's been really, really cool just to see that keep happening. And yeah, I think, and then since 2018, since I won, I've been the top foreigner that's placed at World Cup every year.
Mm, yeah.
So it's been, I think that's just a really cool thing to see for myself. Yeah. So it
But
felt
Nick,
good.
I
And good
feel
for,
like you practiced way more last year than you did this year, and this year you placed higher.
yeah, I would say no for sure. I would say last year I practiced a definitely a good amount, and this year I didn't. I guess my practice got serious during the last month, but I was able to hit a level 12 this year.
Yeah.
That was huge. That's like two level 10s, and not everybody can do 12s. And so I think that was a really, really, really big key factor in my run, just hitting that first 12 to 10 turntable. And if I didn't hit that, my run wouldn't have been nearly as great. But thankfully, it was in the cards this year. Turntable became a trick that mattered, and luckily I had been practicing it for a while. So I practiced super, super hard. I was doing multiple tens every single day once the trick list came out, and then yeah, use some baby powder to combat the the humidity there. And yeah, it worked out. It
Nice.
was good. Yeah,
Yeah.
And
it was
Zach?
good.
Yeah. KWC, I I didn't reach my goal. I was expecting to do better, honestly. But I got 19th place. I didn't hit the last two tricks of my run. And even in prelims, I actually, I mean, I got a backup trick, so I still got 90 points, but I still missed the trick. And I missed the same trick that stopped me in the finals too, which was a stilt Ken flip, jug stilt, swap 1.5 Ken flip jug in. And yeah, I think during my final run, it was smooth sailing up until that point. I had 40 seconds, and I haven't even watched my final run back because it's difficult. It's difficult for me to watch.
It's hard to
Watch.
watch.
It's hard
Me
to watch. I
too.
don't like
Me
missing my.
too.
I don't like watching myself miss at all. And watching that last 40 seconds, I haven't even watched it. But I had 40 seconds to get the last two tricks, 45 seconds, and that's kind of like that's on that's on
Yeah.
time for me. That's making good time. And I put that in last year. I played it really safe. Last year I played it really, really, really safe. I full marked last year, so with the full marks bonus and everything, I got nine. I believe I got 980 through at 986, and then this year I missed two tricks, didn't get the full mark bonus, and got 976. So I almost,
Mm,
last year I literally made a final run. I was practicing it, and I was like, and then I took a trick out. So I was like, okay, I'm definitely gonna full marks this. Like, I'm
yeah.
definitely 100% full marking this. And I did. And this year, I'm gonna make my final run. I knew that stilt trick. I knew I had to come back to slay the dragon. It was interesting. It's so interesting because in prelims and practicing, I mean, I was just nailing it pretty much every single time. It wasn't a problem. Um, and when you get up to the stage, you actually get up to the plate. These factors can happen. But I didn't want to do the same thing as last year. I didn't want to play it safe, and I wanted to take a risk and go for the highest points I'd ever gone for by far. If I got full marks, it would have been 1,300. But looking back, I should have put the last trick into the second last place spot because I was actually more confident on that one.
Mm,
And it's just learning with a strategy of actually the order of your final run because that matters a lot now. I mean, it actually is a huge part of the strategy now. And yeah, I went up to slay the dragon. I didn't slay it, so I missed, and it's all good. I knew that was a calculated risk, and yeah, it didn't happen this year. But overall, I'm really happy I made just kind of going on to the next point, not as like as like impressive, I guess, but making the finals again. I've been able to make the finals every single time I've competed for the last 8 years. I've
yeah.
competed at like six KWCs, once, four, five, six KWCs since 2016, and being able to make finals every single year has been really, really cool. And it's nice. It's really awesome to compete at that event, and I like to say also, it's so incredible like how um, difficult it is. Because actually, if you really look at it, everybody's going up in the order of their projected points. And Nick got third. Nick, you were in the third group, right? You weren't in the second to last group. We're both
No.
in third group. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
If everyone's practicing their final runs, everybody's I'm assuming all these people are projecting higher, like pretty high in the second to last group and first in the last group. I'm just gonna assume they're going for full marks. They've done their final run before. This is consistent. They're all projecting 15, 16, 1700 points, 1800 points, 2000 points, some of them. But then you look at actually what happens, and you see the amount of full marks in the final that actually get done on the day of, and it's very, very, very slim. I mean,
Yeah.
Monty gets third place, not full marking his run, 1300 points.
Wow.
Takuya doesn't full mark his run, gets second, 1500, and then Ryoga is like the only one who full marks, and like Ryoga's probably was like the only person who full marked in that entire like last three groups, or like last
Yeah.
two groups for sure. But if everybody got their full marks, Nick, like I would probably be like 20th. I mean, if I didn't get full marks, I'd probably be in like the low 20s. Like, and then Nick would probably be like, I don't know, not even in the top 10, which is crazy.
Yeah.
But that's just not what happens. That's just not what happens. Um, it's these people are practicing getting the full marks over and over again in practice, but when you time to show up, it's that extra element of stress and pressure and excitement. And it just goes to show how many people are full marking in the last three groups that barely anybody does and how hard it is. So I think that's really
Well,
interesting.
to be honest, I'd probably have to disagree with the point of everybody making full marks in practice. I think it's a big part. I think ego is a big factor, and
Mm.
I think a lot of these Japanese kids have this pressure to, and not just Japanese kids, but well, we see Japanese kids, projecting the highest. So I'll just say them. They're the only people in the last groups. They just feel this big sense of pressure to perform, and everybody's asking, what's your prelim, what's your finals, and then they always are
Hmm.
adjusting based on their surrounding players. Like, oh, in order to beat them, I have to do this. So I have to get this amount of points. So I have to add this trick, take this away, whatever. And then because if everybody was trying to do full marks, like seriously having that come first and then not their ego, then we'd see a lot more people nailing their runs just like Ryoga. And I
Mm-hmm.
doubt everybody could nail their final runs like Ryoga. And Ryoga had the third hardest final run possible this year, and he was the best at it, better than anybody. And so yeah, I just think it's a little more than just getting full marks and crumbling under the pressure. I think people just want to their
Yeah.
ego gets the best of them. I think it just carries them, and then just it doesn't make them get full marks because they get up there and like, oh yeah, I forgot. I actually didn't become consistent enough to get this on stage when it mattered.
Right. Right.
So
Right.
I think that plays a huge factor. Obviously, they can get it during practice, but the amount of practice it actually takes to get a full marks run, and for it to just be not lucky or anything like that, not by chance, like Ryoga was smacking his 1973 for days, probably
Yeah.
for literal months. Because I asked him and he's like, I was like, "Yeah, how did you practice for World Cup?" He just said, I ran 3-minute timers ever since the tricks came out. I didn't even practice prelims. And so he's been running that for three
Wow.
months and left no chance. He just went up and did the same thing he's been doing for 90 days straight, and he delivered. And if everybody was like that, yeah, they would be all getting full marks, like 1,500 points up. But not everybody puts in that time. And
Right.
so it really, yeah, there's just a big separation there.
I for Takia, like I was kind of thinking this, and then a few people asked me. He's obviously so good at those hard tricks. Is there an argument to be made that he should have just got rid of all these six? He did so many like sixes and sevens, maybe some fives, maybe a four. When
Yeah.
why doesn't he just throw in another 10 or 11 or maybe a 12 and replace? I mean, a 12 would have been worth so much, it'd have been worth like how many sixes? Like 10 sixes or whatever? Like, or not that much, maybe like eight, seven sixes.
Yeah.
And when in his final run, he was rushing so hard. He missed like a few really easy tricks. He missed like still over valley two or three times.
Yeah.
I wonder if like the strategy, it was kind of like a missed strategy.
But I know it's easy to say that now, but that strategy has worked for him every single time,
Yeah.
like literally every single time. And you see Ryoga did the same thing. Well,
Yeah.
Ryoga was a little different. I think he structured his run a little differently. Like he had easy, semi-hard, and then he went back to easy and then went into his hard tricks at the end.
Yeah.
So it was a little different, but Takuya's speed has just beaten everybody every single time. And so for him, it was just, okay, I'm gonna run this play again, gonna get first again. And yeah, I mean, that's still a rally. If he would have just got that first try, he
Right.
would have had like two more attempts for the last trick, and he probably would have gotten it. So,
Yeah.
but there's just all those little mishaps. That's a risky play of doing easy tricks. If you miss them and you have a lot, oh, that's if you don't get them
Yeah.
first try, it actually becomes very time consuming. And but I think it's also been proven though that having low tricks like threes and fours and fives, even threes, is actually a a good move. We've seen people who do it win the past 3 years, ever, 22, 23, 24. If you because I think if you get them first try, they're actually it's just very good for your momentum, and they can actually
Yeah.
like say you were to do like say you were to do your entire trick list all threes, and then you were at 30 tricks. I know that's not possible because you have 10, but I mean that's a 1,000 point run right there. You know,
Mm,
if you were to get them
yeah.
all first try.
Mm-hmm.
But so if and I saw something valuable like that on Akimoto's story the other day. He was just kind of explaining how it actually looks to be viable to do these lower level tricks, like even if it's just
Ah,
points, because it's been proven, the last 3 years, people who have won have done them. But anyway, yeah, every trick you put in is honestly there's some risk there, even if it's a level three and four or five, and yeah, Takuya, unfortunately, I mean, yeah, that's still the rally really killed him. That one
yeah.
trick messed him up. Yeah.
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
was laughing
and
too, like when he was
yeah.
missing.
Yeah, I mean, he was missing the level 10 too. He missed the 3-3 can flip jug, triple flip slide out, shrimp flip swap. He like missed it a couple times and he like took a break, like breathed, and he like smiled at the crowd. He's like, wow, I can't, it was like almost like, wow, I can't believe I'm missing this right now. And I was like, all right, man, you gotta go. Like, you gotta go, dude.
Yeah.
But yeah, to go along that point, Nick, like the smaller level tricks, I'm just looking at there's always going to be margins between point totals that are so close in the finals. So for example, um 10th place this year, Josh Kim, 10:57. 11th place, 10:52. 12th place,
Wow.
10:48. 13th place, 10:44. 14th place,
Wow.
10
Those are literally level
10:29.
threes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So now these people are thinking like, oh wow, like I mean, well actually, let me finish. 14th place, 10:29. 15th place, 10:25. 16th place, 10:22. So it's like you're missing out on not just one place, but like three, four places with like a grand total of between 9 and 20 points. So
Yeah.
it's easy to look back after and look at it and be like, wow, man, like I should have put that last like level 3 or 4 in. But it's impossible to know. But the more you go to KWC, the more you know that this like these margins are there, and it always happens. Like it always happens. The point like, there's always going to be a section in the bracket where people are literally like within 15 points of each other, but also 6 places apart. So it's interesting to look back after the fact. So I think yeah, definitely going into the next KWC, it's worth putting in those small tricks. Just maybe one or two of them. Maybe just add
Yeah.
them in at the start and just do your run.
And yeah, I mean, even if not just looking at what he did in his final run, even if he replaced a level 11 with a bunch of level fives, he probably still would have gotten to that last trick. And at that point, it's just like the Kendama God. Like if it gives it to your, I mean, like if you slow motion it, he literally missed by like a tiny amount. The spike was just right next to the Tama. And so it's not like he necessarily did anything wrong. It was just like just spiking that last one. If you spike that last one, he wins. So and then
Yeah.
when he wins, you're like, oh, he did everything right. You know what I mean? So I think we could look back and criticize it and say it's a misstrategy. Like I was just saying, if he was like really behind and he didn't have like any time to do like his last three tricks, but in this case, it just came to that last spike. So
Mhm.
it's really not a misstrategy. It's just like a miss spike.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you guys think about the amount of seeds and wild cards this year? So I'll just say what it was. There was 10 seeds this year. There was 10 seeds, 14 wild cards, and then
Mhm.
16 people qualified outside of the seeds. Okay, like it's 16 people qualified outside the season wildcards, like legit, like with the points. Um, but there's 40 people in the final, and there's 10 seeds and 14 wildcards. You know, that's
Yeah,
24. Yeah.
I feel like I want to say there's too many wild cards, and I got in through a wild card, so I have to be like careful. But the seeds is actually crazy. How many seeds? 16?
10,
10?
10. 10's a lot.
That's a lot. How does that? I mean, I can think of like five major events. I guess freestyle as well. Do they get people in from freestyle, or is it just open?
So it
They
was
they
like,
just award. Sorry, you go
yeah,
ahead,
go
Zach.
ahead. Okay. So it was like all these comps, all the major comps. So NACO, Battle at the Border. You take the KWC winners from the previous year. You take the girl champion from the previous year. Uh, you
Yeah.
know, um, China Kendama Open. I didn't expect. Yeah, that's a major competition. It's close by. Xingyang won that. There's going to be Noah, who got the girl champion last year. And there was the Gloken Cup winners, both
Mm.
male and female this year. So that's already a lot. And then the EKC winner. So that's a lot of seeds. And I know I'm missing a couple too. There was a couple, like there's Nonica. I forgot what she got a seed for, but yeah, she's
Winning
in there
battle?
too. No, she didn't. It was different.
Mm.
I'm not sure what it was, but yeah. So it's all these seeds and the wild cards. There's so many wild cards from the global wild cards to I saw it like there's multiple gender wild cards. There's a couple age wild cards, and then the guy from Australia made it in Michael. There's a continent wild card. I didn't even know. I looked back and it was like continent wild cards. Like, oh, what the heck? Like
Yeah.
continents? Um, but yeah, it makes sense. But yeah,
Yeah,
so
I couldn't I really wouldn't be able to pick one to say to remove it. Like they all kind of make sense. So the only thing is just to increase the amount of people that make it to finals
mm,
because it's crazy how low to qualify. 16 qualifiers and you have to get more than 89 points this year, which is insane.
Yeah.
And that was what 100% Jap or it was all Japanese besides you two.
Yeah. Yeah.
well, and
Yeah.
Alex. Well, Alex, even if Alex Mitchell wasn't a seed, he would have qualified because he got
Okay.
97 points.
Yeah, that's
Because he got
crazy.
97 points, didn't even make his prelim until probably like a week or like less
Yeah.
before. Which, by the way, that's another thing I want to bring up. Um, you see the point. Okay, let's just like the highest qualifier ever beforehand, 97 points. Taki hit it last year. Nick hit it 2019. Okay. Highest qualifier ever was 97 points, and then Ryoga was second
Oh,
place
it
last
was
year, 94.
Bryson,
Oh, he got 98. Yeah, you're right. I'm sorry. He got 98 in 2018. That's right.
2017.
26. Okay. Wow. Yeah, my facts are not. Thank you, Nick. But I have the 2024 list right here. And 90 over 98 points has never happened. All right, ready? Takuya 99, Yasu 99, Alex Mitchell, or no, I'm sorry, Ryoga 99, Alex Mitchell 97. That's a top four spot. So never happened
Yeah.
before. 99 points never happened. Then three people decided to hit it this year.
Yeah.
That's just insane. Alex Mitchell,
Yeah.
97 points. But and then it's like, all right, there's a drop off. There's always a drop off, right? Like, like nobody, not like all these kids are hitting high runs. Nope, 96, 96, 95. It's like, wait, what? Like 96,
Yeah,
96,
like
96, 95.
you'd want to say that we should make level 10s harder, but the issue with that is then 11s and 12s have to be harder, and there's no one doing 11s and 12s in these runs because they're too hard, you
Yeah.
know? So, yeah, I mean, KWC, I think they run like the best event. Everything is so like I love the rules, I love the format. Like I can't, it's almost too big for me to like criticize because it's just so global. There's so many things to consider, versus
Mm-hmm.
me like criticizing the judging format, which is much more smaller and easier to fix. But I don't even know what they would do to fix that.
Yeah. It's
Or
it's
is it
really
is it even a
insane.
problem?
Right. It's you're going off and yeah, it's tough to even say because I guess just going off these prelim scores, right? Going off if I'm just going off the prelim scores, which is only one metric, you could argue like, all right, so many people are getting higher scores this year. These tricks are easier than last year relative to the difficulty for skilled amount of skilled players. But I mean, it's just like, yeah, as you said, it's like there's like a couple options. It's like to make it, I don't know, like more accessible for players. I don't know, but it's the World Championships. It's meant to be super hard, you know?
Right,
So it's
right.
it's either like it's either open up more spots, like you said, or make the tricks harder. But then the level 11s and 12s will be harder, and no one's even doing those.
No.
But I will say this, there's 10 seeds, 14 wild cards, and to make it in this year, you have to qualify in the top 21 scores. Top 21 scores, you have to for points without wild cards. You have to make it in the top 21. And after that, you see people with wild cards who are making it in in the 70s of points. Some people got in, with the nationalities, nation one, two, and three, like 60s. In the 60s and 70s, they're making it in. And then if you're Japanese, you're screwed because
Yeah.
there's a guy who got 90 points. I mean, there's four people who got 90 points, or five people got 90 points, and two of them were already seeds. And then one guy, Hiroaki Matsutomi, got 90 points, and just missed the cutoff because my square beat him by 2 points. And he didn't get into the finals, even though he got 90 points. And then you see people getting in below him who are, hitting these wild cards, 70 points and stuff. And then the global wild cards like 89, 88, 77 from the USA. But realistically, like 77 points. Jimmy Covington, who got in at the global three, he was 49th place. So there's
Yeah.
that many people who are Japanese above him, who didn't
Yeah.
get in because they're Japanese.
Yeah.
Because there's no wild cards for Japanese players because they're obviously the majority nationality of the event. So uh, if the rules stay the same with wild cards and there's this amount of seeds, which honestly I didn't even know there was going to be 10. Like 10 seeds is a lot. I think that's probably the
Yeah.
most it's ever been. But if the rules stay the same, like for Japanese players specifically, you actually have to be like
No.
disgustingly good to make it in.
Top
You have to be
player.
in the top 0.5% of players, to make it in because those are the stakes. Like everybody's, and every, from this year on, like if nothing changes, I mean, and the scores only get higher. You realize like it's the smartest thing to do is to base your prelim score to get into the finals is to go higher than the cutoff from the year
Yeah.
previous. Last year it
Yeah.
was 86 and this year was freaking 90 points. So it's like
Well,
it's
even if the
insane.
guy got 90 points and he still didn't make it, right?
Yeah, because his squared points total
So
was
you really
less.
needed 91 points
Well,
to play it
he,
safe. Yeah, to like, okay, I'm gonna qualify
yeah, I
91
mean, yeah,
points.
exactly. It's like not. It's like you don't want to aim for the cutoff of last year. You want to aim for higher
Yeah.
than the cutoff of last year. So you want to at
Yeah.
least like, all right, I want to go 91 points, which is like ridiculous to say because if you got 91 points in like any year prior, it would be like, oh, dude, good stuff. Like good, especially even before 2019. Like 2019, I think the top 10 had not the top 10 prelims was like 90. And it was like, all right, that's solid. But like before that, if you got 90 points, you'd be like, all right, you're a beast, you know?
Yeah.
And now it's like if you get 90 points, you're like, you might not
That's
cut it this year.
crazy, bro. I mean,
Yeah.
just imagine getting not qualified with 90-point prelim. That is insane.
Yeah. Well, we can ask this guy because it literally happened. Like that sucks so bad. It actually
Who
sucks.
was it?
I've actually never, Nick, do you know this guy? Hiroaki Matsutomi?
I think
I'll
you
have to
do
look him
know.
up.
Oh, okay.
I'll have to look him up. Let me. I feel like if I see the Instagram, yeah. Let me just we can move on, but I'll look. I'll look.
Okay.
Juryu too though. He got 89 points.
Yeah.
Dang,
Wow.
that's a good score.
Yeah.
That's really good.
I mean, for
Uh,
like a really good Japanese player, that's like practicing for 2 months straight, and then you still don't get in. You have to be like you have to either be a top player and then not practice, or if you're just like a really good player, you have to like practice so hard and still might not get in.
Yeah. What do you guys think about the seeds? I mean, even for these major competitions, you guys, because open division, um, it is definitely a lot of skill to win an open division, especially at these major competitions. You're competing against the best players. You're very skilled if you win, but it's also a different style of competition. Like it's completely
Yeah.
different than KWC, you
Yeah.
know. Um, and obviously people want to see these players in the finals, but if they can win an open division, they're probably going to be good enough to qualify,
Yeah.
and so to use these seeds on them, um, it might not. I don't know. I feel like there's an argument to be had about that just because it's not the same comp style, and instead of having so many, and actually the seeds did pretty well, did well this year. I think all the seeds had good point totals. I don't think every seed would have made it in,
Mm.
um, if it was just this, but they had really high point totals anyways. But just for the wild cards, for example, you're having people who are coming in with into the final stage, uh, with these lower point totals than like people who are in the 80s. I think there's an argument to be had, that's like maybe to cut out like those people for the pure excitement of the finals, because then
Yeah.
they're like people who have proved themselves to be really skilled to now it's going to be not factually more exciting to watch, but I guess the probability of it being more exciting to watch is higher because these players are, like, based on prelims, are more skilled than these wildcard players. But also, I do understand why Gloken has the wildcards in the first place, of course, because I mean this is the World
Global event.
Championships. The
Yeah.
the world representation on the stage means a lot, and it is really cool to highlight that. I mean, everybody's coming here for Kendama from all over the world, so I see two sides to that. And one side I can see like, all right, let's take away some of the let's take away some of the seeds. So you like more proof, like that of your skill on the day of, and more proof your overall skill in general. That you're keeping it up year round, is there. But I also totally understand that it's a world with the World Cup, and
Yeah.
the representation. It's a really very important part of the event.
Yeah,
So
no, for sure. But Nick, you can go.
What? No, no, you go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay. Um, yeah, I mean, your first instinct is to look at the lowest score and be like, okay, do we need to seed that player? And I think it's usually Australia, but you would never take out Australia because that's going to
right,
get, it's like it's a full continent.
yeah,
Um, and it's a really untapped market. I mean, Australia can really boom in Kendama. Like
mm-hmm.
it's like a perfect location.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so yeah, I mean, maybe removing a few of the European seeds. I don't know. I think is there three of them? Is there two? It always kind of confuses me
Mm.
with the rules, but I mean, you can do that. Yeah, I don't exactly know when the countries and the continents come into play. You know what I mean? Like it just is
Right,
too confusing for me, and especially because the rules are usually translated, so it's hard to really know. And it's not like I don't trust what they're doing. 'Cause I know they know what the deal is,
yeah.
so I trust them. But I don't exactly know how many country seeds there are. I guess there's one continent, but I don't know um, when the country seed would replace the continent, or if you know what I mean. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, it's just something to think about. And also, I mean, you know, they're seeded. I think the majority of the seeds are coming from the champions before. So like Yasu seeded and he won 3 years ago. Obviously he would have made it
yeah.
anyways. This guy did 99 points in his prelims with all both of his runs under a minute, right next to me. So saw him sat down in the corner. I saw him sit down each time out of the corner of my eye, and I'm like, man, that's crazy. I still have like two tricks left, and I know he just did 99 points, so I don't really.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
know?
but three does seem like a lot, doesn't it? Should it be two? The last
Yeah,
two
yeah,
winners?
yeah. Because I mean, for my that's how Nonoko was seeded too. He was 2022 champion, um, and yeah. But I think yeah. I mean, I think they started seeding players from like 3 years out. If you win once, you're seeded for like the next 3 years. They started
Yeah.
doing that in 2017, and I think it probably might have been just because Wyatt Bray didn't make it in, or no, yeah, in 2016. So and
Oh,
then next year they could.
really?
Well, yeah, I mean, I don't know. That was weird to not see him in the final in 2016. I mean, he literally won the year before, and he just didn't even
Yeah.
qualify the next year. But then they put seeds in, and so he made it every year after that just because of his seed. But then the seeds rules got in place, and then there's seeds and stuff, and so yeah, I mean, Yasu's only gotten so much better since 2021, but maybe they could take that. Maybe just be 2 years. Yeah, like you said. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, I don't
We
know.
don't necessarily need to reward these players because if they just won KWC, they're like 100% going to qualify. I guess why is an example, but the last like 6 years, it's like they're all going to qualify.
Right.
So I can imagine doing 2 years, but then also I guess there's a point, like even if they do 3 years, one of those players is bound to win another event and then leave another spot open for somebody to qualify into that spot. Like I don't know if it happened this. Yeah, I guess Rio. No, Takuya won last year, and
in the
did
year
Tak
prior.
in the year prior? Did he win? Did he? I guess he didn't really win a major open.
Well, I mean, he would have gotten the seed that Ryoga got, but he couldn't get it because he already was a seed. Because Ryoga got the Gulkin Cup seed because he got
Okay,
second at that cup
okay,
versus
yeah. So that
Itakia.
opened it up for Ryoga to get it, because and then I guess Ryoga didn't win an open division, but of course, if any of these players hit an open division, they they have a good chance of winning. Like if
Right.
Taki and Ryoga hit battle this year or Nako this year, it's like my money's on one of them to win. Um, but yeah, yeah, it's just really interesting. It's really, really a cool format. Like it's really well thought out and um interesting to see where it goes in the future. Do you guys have like are you guys motivated for next cup? Do you have any strategy or are you not even thinking about that?
It's far out. Yeah, it's far
Yeah.
out. Nick, you can answer first.
For next year's World Cup.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I guess you
Yeah,
just see how it goes, right?
we'll just see how it goes. I'm
Yeah.
not sh Yeah, I don't know. I don't want to say anything yet. It's too far out.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
don't
yeah,
really know, but I'll definitely be going. I'm
yeah.
definitely
Yeah.
going for sure. I'll definitely be there. We'll just see. Yeah, it's. Yeah, I think a lot. I think one thing I do want to say, this isn't even kind of related to that question, but the importance of game time decisions for that day,
Yeah.
and maybe
Yeah.
the game time decisions for prelims. I know some people like to stick with their guns and, trust what they've practiced, which is great. I actually really, really respect that too. But if the reality is you're not consistent with what you're practicing and you're not getting it every time, then consider changing it once you get there and you realize, okay, it's not working for me now. It's not going to
Yeah.
work for me tomorrow. Like things
Yeah.
change when you get to Japan, and then things also change when you step in that venue. So
Yeah.
you can adjust up until you go. So honestly, it just depends on the day because it's all about who's the best on that day. It doesn't matter
Yeah.
about like who's the best practicing up to it. It's the best who can perform the best on that day. And if your practice isn't serving you for some reason, some trick is getting the best of you on one of those days, it's time to make a game time decision and lower your ego and maybe go for less points or simply just make something easier in order to get full marks, in order to get the most amount of points guaranteed possible. Because you always want to get full marks. You always want to get a full marks on your prelims. For finals as well, you want to aim for the highest. But you know, I think it's a big play. I think that's something a lot of people can look back on this year and be like, okay, I should have done that, should have done this. Why did I put that in my run when it wasn't as consistent in my practice on the day of? Like, what am I doing? People can always look
Yeah.
back and decisions. So, oh no, I think I went out.
No, we hear you.
That's
It's
tough.
just
No,
a
you're
video.
good. You're good.
I think I went out.
You did.
Um,
Oh, he can't hear us.
oh, I'll just talk. No, I totally feel that, dude. Like last year, I didn't practice that much, and I had a run planned like a week prior, and then that completely changed. This year, I practiced like every day. I was consistently hitting. I wasn't like a confident consistent, but every day I was hitting like first or second try at 84-point run. And then when I get there, I go down to, I mean, I hit a 75, but I
Hmm.
was going for like an 81 at most. And like, yeah, I mean, when I look at these tricks, like, I think with the stage, when you're practicing in your backyard, you have a certain confidence level, like, oh yeah, I can definitely hit 10 juggle spike every time. But then like what I love about competition and like the pressure and going on the stage is it really tests that confidence to like, okay, now like when I'm on the stage and I did my final run, I could really feel that I was confident in some tricks. Like there's like, the Ken flip juggle late Ken juggle spike. Like that's a trick that I may miss a few times, but I've just been doing that for so long. There's just like this high level of confidence that like I'm gonna be able to save that if I need to save it. And then
Hmm.
there's like Chad's trick, which is completely my play style. It's the three tap juggle
Hmm.
three Ken. But I was struggling with it sometimes during qualifying. I didn't have that time position perfect. It wasn't like, yeah, just at that same confidence. Even if in my backyard it doesn't really matter. But like when I get to the stage and I start like practicing these, it really tests and feels like, okay, where do I actually where does my ability lie? And then I get on stage and I struggle with that trick. Um,
Mm.
I struggle with tentacle spike too. I mean, I didn't even other than my qualifying tricks, I practiced individually a ton. I didn't practice that one because it's tentacle spike. I've been juggling for so long. And I knew that I needed to work on it, but I just kind of worked on it while I was practicing qualifying runs. And I wouldn't necessarily say I'd go back and practice that one individually because I feel like my room for improvement is so small at this point.
Hmm.
But I struggled on that one a few times. I don't know, with nervousness or yeah, string problems, a little bit of both. Um, but yeah, like that, a high level competition just really tests your comfortability with tricks, like your true confidence for doing a trick.
Yeah. Yeah. I think a lot of people have experiences, those who have experience, and it helps them. I think experience plays a big factor, but those who don't, I think the baseline of preparation just kind of is a little separated. I think
Yeah.
the standard is a little bit different for those who are more experienced. They may not, have to practice as intensively to get this full mark score or whatever to make it to the finals compared to the person who has never gone, who doesn't really know what it's like, and is kind of just banking on practicing how they usually do, or whatever it may, whatever it may be. But I just think from just watching people, I think it's just the amount of practice that goes into it. For a lot of people, it's just okay. These guys practice way harder. They make it in because I think just speaking from my experience here, I've always had my confidence rest on my practice and my preparation for every event, and especially for KDBC. My first year I went, my only goal was making finals. I didn't even make a final run. I literally didn't even know what I was going to do. So when I made it, I didn't have any idea what was going to happen.
Yeah.
But I just practiced prelims for 2, 3 months. And when I got there, yeah, it was tough. I mean, you get the pressure, but then you just think, man, I've been doing this for so long in such smaller
Yeah.
times in 3 minutes, and it's like hard to believe you can actually fail. And so once you because it comes with the preparation, that confidence comes with the preparation. So from my experience, I've always been able to make finals just because I've practiced enough for what I'm based on my skill, based on what I'm capable of. I think I've had enough practice to back it up. As for some people who are maybe super good, but the practice didn't really, back them up and get them to where they wanted to go. For example, maybe Adrian Valau was aiming for an 1,800 point run in finals. He was seeded. He had this 93 prelim, great stuff. Maybe he was expecting a lot. Um, and then he just kind of got reality checked like
Yeah.
pretty hard.
Yeah.
Not to say he did bad, but because he made finals, it was great. Put on a good performance for Romania, but it's just people like these, like they've never been, and it's not their
Yeah.
fault. They just don't know, and so they didn't
Yeah.
practice it, and so their expectations are skewed because they don't realize, oh, I have to do this much in order to get here. Whereas up until this point, I've always only had to do this much, and I've still been able to achieve highly. KWC is just different, It just
Yeah.
really comes down to who puts in the most time and energy to the practice and
Yeah.
refining their. Yeah,
Yeah, for
you
sure.
can't fake a KDBC win. You just can't.
No.
Yeah.
And I guess in preparation for next year, I thought entered my mind that maybe you guys are thinking of when with how qualifying is building up to like a 93 limit next year that you guys need to win an open division this year. Just to play it safe. Like
Oh,
you're like I got to
that's
win
just
that one.
to alleviate some stress.
Yeah, yeah. Or
It's
else
always
you do
nice to
like
be a seed. Yeah.
yeah, for sure. Or else you do like a 94 next year.
Well,
It's
not for
like
us because the U.S. wildcards.
Oh, true, true,
that's
true.
right.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
Like,
Okay. You guys are
well, I mean, yeah, based on this year, I could probably cruise with like 78. So
Oh,
I'm already
true,
pretty much
Zach.
70.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
Yeah, because like
technically made the
global wild
skirt, but
cards, like
yeah.
global wild cards, like it doesn't just mean USA, but like kind of does. So
Yeah,
yeah, I'll
yeah,
probably
yeah,
just
yeah.
80 points. No. but that's literally a thing. I mean, you can literally make it in with
Yeah.
yeah. So
Yeah, you're
um,
solid. So I
yeah,
guess some of these Japanese, one of these Japanese kids needs to hit China Kendama Open or like
dude,
EKC.
yeah, literally.
Just send it over there and win, and then you're good to go.
Yeah, like
Because
they
it's
try to
probably
get out
like
open, like
equal
they should go to
difficulty.
that.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Qualify
Uh,
for cup is like equal to winning a major event.
yeah. I'm look I'm looking at my questions that I got because I just posted questions solely on KWC topic. We actually covered most of them. I mean, one person asked top 5 or 10 for next year, like their predictions. I can't. I mean, I don't. I don't know. It's.
I mean,
I
you
don't
can name
know.
like five,
Yeah,
certainly. And then the other five, like Shinosuke is probably in there, like Alex, and then it's just
if Alex
whatever
goes,
if Alex goes, and then it's another three Japanese kids that just get in. I could like Koki was in. I don't even know if I'm pronouncing his name. He was in top 10 last year, and this year I don't even know if he qualified. Did he qualify
yeah,
this year? Yeah,
I don't
like
know. I don't
it's
think he did.
yeah, it's crazy, dude. It's the
Yeah,
randomness is insane.
yeah, but I'm just gonna guess the top 10 is gonna be like 80% Japanese,
Yeah,
like usual. But
no, for
I
sure.
couldn't name players because yeah, it's gonna switch a lot next year. I mean, next year we're gonna see a kid who we haven't even heard of in the top 10. So,
Yeah, no, for
um,
sure.
yeah, like 100% is gonna happen. So,
Yeah.
yeah. But other than that, I mean, that's we already covered all the questions I have. Nick, do you have any
From
for
yeah, from
KWC?
Instagram.
Yeah, for KWC.
Yeah. Yeah. Let me I have them right here. Um, cannot well, what does it really take to make it to KWC finals? What do you think needs to happen for Americans to get back on top of the Kendama world?
Oh God,
Those
there's
are
not. There's
two
nothing. There's
related to
nothing they could.
KWC.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
I mean, what American has potential to get to Ryoga's level? At this
Colton.
point, my mind's on Colton.
yeah, like he's the only one who's like
Like
really young and playing, playing high
this is
hours, achieving at a
youth.
high level.
Yeah, like I
So
would
can we
say
can we just
Edwin, but yeah, I don't know.
I think it's Colton. I think the only
Yeah,
person is Colton. Um,
it's
right now,
crazy.
our
Yeah,
future. What does it really take to make it to KDC finalists from Chavi? Yeah, we can cover that really quick. It could be
yeah,
a really quick answer. Well, you need to let's just say for points, you need a 90-point prelim or above. So you need to be within the top, I don't know, 30 players in the entire world to qualify for this event by just points, legit. I'd say top 30 to 50 and 35, 40 of those players are Japanese. So yeah, it's really, really difficult. And then you need to you just I guess that's the easiest way to put it because we could factor in wildcards and do all this stuff, but if you really want to be a KWC finals, what does it really take to play it safe and not to bet on anything? You just need to be at the skill level 90 points. So just take a look at the level nines,
yeah.
take a look at the level, I mean, level eights and nines for backup, maybe. Just look at those tricks and be like, okay, can I do these tricks? If you can't, well, you're not gonna make finals. You're
Yeah.
not there yet.
I mean,
You're not there yet.
realistically, if you can starting now practice and start hitting 99 points in qualifying,
Yeah.
right? If you can do that by like November, of course the next level 10s are going to be way different, but I feel like there's enough variety in those level 10s that
Yeah.
like if you get those down, I'm sure like if you start getting 99 points consistently, I mean maybe that's
Well,
it.
yeah.
Like
If
what
you really wanted to make finals from now, if this was your only goal for the whole year, then what you need to do is just simple. Just look at the KDBC tricks from this year. I don't
yeah,
know, maybe last year, whatever it takes for you to scale on a consistent level. Just
yeah,
do these tricks because a lot of the tricks stay the same. A lot of them do. A
yeah,
lot of lower ones do. Up till seven, you'll see a lot of repeats. Eights, nines, and tens. Okay,
yeah.
these change.
Same
But seven,
concepts
up until
though. It's the same concepts.
same concept up until seven. You even have repeat tricks, same concepts, but schedule measure up to those. Do practice. Pick 5 tricks for each prelim run, 6 with a backup. Practice 3-minute timers every once in a while. Use
Yeah,
your scale your ability based on the KDC trick list, and just use that as your reference. Don't use anything else as a reference. Literally, don't look at anything else to
yeah.
base your skill level. Just use that and be like, Am I good enough yet? Am I consistent enough yet? And just
Yeah.
keep going based on the KDC trick list. That's all you have to do. Use it as
Yeah.
your. That's it.
Mhm.
Simplest.
It's actually kind of fun challenge to just from now
Yeah.
up to next KBC, put in 30 minutes a day and have a goal of your top qualified score and see if you can hit it. That's what I'm
Yeah.
going to start doing, I think. Like I'm just going to see what but potentially can I get. Like if I get lucky for a run, of course I'm going to keep going, so I'm going to get more and more consistent at it. But like can I get a 95 qualifying? Can I get
Mm.
a 1500 final run? Like that's just
Yeah.
such a great way to become
Yeah.
a good Canada player.
It is. It is just
Yeah.
using one frame of reference for progression over a certain period of time, no matter what it
Yep.
is. Just
Yeah.
Yep.
use that. There's a lot of people at Camp Skyway, this camp that Zach and I went to 2 years ago, that would just literally just judge their own level on the KWC tricks. They'd be like, "Oh, are you level 2, level
Yeah.
3, are you level 4? What does that even?" Then I was thinking, what do you even mean by that?
Yeah.
But
It
it's a
worked.
thing.
Yeah, it's actually, yeah,
Yeah,
good
it's
strat.
legit. So yeah, that's an answer to your question, Chavi. And then Jacob Schultz asked, "What do you think needs to happen for Americans to get back on top of the Kendama world?" And I'm pretty sure he just means winning KDBC.
Yeah. I mean, you know, I guess we're just saying Sheldon because he's so young. Obviously, he hasn't hit like insane KWC tricks, but I don't also want to disregard any top players currently. Like
Yeah.
Nick, if you wanted it, Zach, if you wanted it,
Mhm.
Alex, Edwin. I mean, if you start practicing now, you have a shot. Like I don't know how high
Yeah.
the percentage is, but like I was talking to Alex a lot about him like finding a new identity in Kendama. He's not grinding as much. He's kind of trying to find like what he can do, which is funny for a lot of people because of how good he is and how he's still going to be winning a lot of the American Open and European Open events. But once he sees Ryoga and Takuya, he's like, who am I? Like, what's going on? Like, um, but yeah, I mean, if you are a current top player in Europe, in the States, and you start grinding now, like for sure, I want to root you on. But at the same time, Ryoga and Taki are just so far ahead from years of doing this, dude. Like Taki's won the last 3 years. Like, yeah,
Yeah. So it just takes a mindset shift. I
yeah,
think a lot of people clearly you don't take it seriously enough,
right,
and very few players outside of Japan who take it as serious as them.
yeah,
I can't even I can only name a couple people in the US out of my knowledge that take it that serious, and not only take it that serious, but want to, go to competitions with a competitive mindset and want to be like, I
yeah,
want to win this. They're
yeah,
not just
Yeah.
film grinders. They don't just spend 5 hours in front of a camera, which you can still get really good like that. But to win under pressure, to go into competition, to be that guy, represent the country, go into an open, want to win the competition, not just go there to just socialize. It takes a different mindset. It takes a really different
no, yeah,
mindset, competitive mindset that not a lot of people have in Europe and America right now. And
And
it's
not a
just
lot
the
of
way.
people are willing to go for it.
no,
Yeah,
Not a
yeah,
lot of people are willing to be like, okay, I actually will, you know, sacrifice other things in my life to practice for this event. I will sacrifice my time at the event to practice as well. And this mindset, like you said, and sacrifice basically the time you put in. Because at the end of the day, like it's really just so many hours that you have to put in to achieve these big of goals. And yeah, just I mean the Japanese are putting in way more hours, and the KWC. I think the best way to practice for KWC year round, if not like the one what we already just talked about. I mean, it's literally just taking high amounts of hours per day, and
yeah, yeah,
that's really it. Ryoga and Kage are playing hours and hours and hours per day, and I'll give you, I mean, let's talk about the difference in prioritization. I mean, I'll just give a good example right now. I was able to hang out and talk with Nonika like 2 weeks before KFC, and she recently just got graduated from university. She got a full time job. And I asked her, I'm like, okay, because you don't. I mean, you could probably barely tell that anything's changed. She's still putting out clips like once a week at least. She's been doing that, high quality clips. She's very active. I asked her, I was like, hey, so like, how's the Kendama work balance? Because you're obviously not a university student anymore. You have a full time commitment for a job. So I'll just break it down for you because she basically broke it down. Okay, so she's at work for 9 hours a day. Takes 45 minutes both ways to commute. Okay, so 10 and a half hours a day. All right, 10 and a half hours a day, 5 days a week.
wow,
Just not, I mean, not playing Kendama.
No.
Every single 5 days a week, 10.5 hours, is just not doing anything but going to work and going home. Um, on work days, 5 days out of the week, she's hitting 2 hours of economic play per day. On
Wow.
weekends, 4 hours.
That's
So
awesome. That's all you
she's hitting,
need.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Oh, that's
Yeah.
that's more than enough time for
That's
significant
yeah,
improvement over time.
for sure. For
And
sure.
that's someone
Yeah.
with a full-time job in
Yeah.
Japan. That level of prioritization. I don't know anybody who's working. I'm sure there's people in the U.S. who are doing it. Don't get me wrong, but I just haven't heard of it. It's not as common. And it's like it's her with a full-time job, and then you see talking Ryoga. These kids are in school. They're definitely playing way more than that, and 18 hours a week is a lot. Like that's a lot still. But Taki and Ryoga, they're probably hitting double that. So it's like the prioritization really is what it is. And these kids are prioritizing it higher than everybody else. They have been not just for a week or a month or a year, but multiple years. And that's really what has led up to what has been happening.
Yeah. I want to say one thing about the mindset. And then we
Yeah.
can maybe shift to Lotus and the partnership and stuff. But like thinking about like these good players who maybe are older in the States, there's a ton of them, and a lot of European players too. And if you think that you have like already peaked, then you have,
Yeah.
right? Like if you believe that, then yeah, it's a mindset. Like, yeah, you've already peaked. You're not going to go back. But if you think that there's a chance that you haven't peaked yet and that there's room to grow, and with the right dedication, you can get back up there, then you can, it's just what you
Mhm.
believe. Like, I can think of a bunch of players who just because of their age or because of their job, they have less time, they don't have as much time as they used to. If they set the goal for qualifiers or for winning KWC next year, and they really go for it and they believe they can, then like that is an infinite amount higher chance than if you don't believe that. Like I'm
Yeah.
not saying that you will, but like you just went from like a one. If you think you've already peaked, you're not going to win. You have a 0% chance of winning. If you have the mindset of I think I can win, I'm going to go for it. Like I'm going to change my routine. I haven't peaked yet. Like I'm going to be better. I'm going to climb up the leaderboard. Then that is infinitely higher than a 0% chance. I don't know what the number is, but it's way higher than zero, right? Like
Yeah.
yeah. Um,
I think you're putting the opportunity, the chance out there into the world.
yeah,
You're just
yeah,
with that by thinking that you're like it makes it possible. The world is now you just put that energy out there. It's like okay, I want to do this. You start making decisions. You're changing your actions. You just now make it a possibility. Your life changes, and the world
yeah,
like receives that.
yeah.
It's something about it because before you even put it out there, it doesn't exist.
Right.
Just even like exactly what you were saying. If you think you're already peaked, there's no chance. Yeah, there's literally 0% chance because you're
Yeah,
not doing anything to work
yeah,
towards it. But if you
yeah,
change your actions like that, it makes something possible. Something changes.
yeah. And I think that's why we look at Shelton. I just blanked at his name.
Colton.
Um, Colton. Sorry.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I don't know where I
That
was
is
going,
bad.
but
I want to say real quick,
Rikasi.
when you
Yeah.
said Shelton a second ago, I was like, did he just say like, because you said it, I know you did, but
Colton. It's
anyway,
close.
Colton.
There's a tut.
It's
There's
Colton.
T1.
Okay.
Colton, like we know that he is on the grind up. Like
Yeah.
he might maybe doesn't have the mind. He doesn't have that goal of winning KWC, but he definitely doesn't have the mindset of him already been better than where he is. That he's already peaked. Like that's why I think we like mentioned him because he's shown really good progression. He's young, and you can see how much he's grinding and like where that route is going. Like it's not this mindset of like, okay, I need to like, yeah, I'm never gonna get back to where I was before. Like
Yeah.
these like a lot of young kids just I guess because they're young, and they haven't had to, you know, develop a mindset shift, which is hard to do, but they just they're young and they can
Yeah.
just grind and do it, versus when you're older and if you've had that like these beliefs that you can't do that again, then yeah, I mean it's definitely hard to do, but
Yeah.
it really just takes a turn. Like especially I mean if you want to win, if a dream of yours is doing KWC, but then you also think that you're never going to get better than you once were at some point, then those are contradictory thoughts, Like those two
Hmm.
thoughts can't be in your mind at the same time. Like You got to pick one, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think whether you're like, yeah, basically, I think that summarizes what we just talked about is just like whether you believe you can or can't. I mean, you're right
Yeah.
either way.
Yeah.
It's